Okay, everybody, and welcome back. And we can go on and get started on the analysis. Let's just go and move this out of the way. So as I mentioned, we had come down here, that we had this 38% from the day before. I still think we're going to eventually make a move down here to the 609. Doesn't mean we won't move lower, but I think there's a pretty decent possibility we'll make a move down there. On the euro, unless things change, and I don't see anything necessarily changing. So at this point, for right now, I'd go with the 624 to say it's support. I mean, we're going to have a little bit of support just near the 643. There'll probably be a pause here at 661. But for today, we'll just say the support's going to be at 624. I would expect the market to go on and bounce from that area. They may take it out by a few pips, but to find some support, it's still a ways off. But I'm saying this what I would be looking for if you're short the market or you're getting short, and you're looking where it'd be an area, be right around the 624. They may even pause just ahead of that, because it'd still be a pretty decent fall from here. If it makes it only to, let's say, 632 and takes out those lows to gun some stops. So that being said, we'll go with 624 for support. Actually, it's 622. Just leave it here for 424. Yesterday's resistance was 696. That was right here. Pretty much kept the market in check. The only thing we'll do is we'll move it up to here, which is where the market ran out of gas here at 716. So once again, as we said, we've broken down pretty well from here. We came back, paused right here before the 716, but the door, like I said, looks open for a test down here to 609. And depending on what happens, how things are set up, if any further bad news, if we want to look at it that way, comes out, then we have probably a decent chance to eventually come down here to this 568. That'd be the bias pivot, which I think would be pretty solid. Like I said, we have to get there. We'll see how things are once we get there, if we were to get there. Like I told you, we talked about the 716 and 758 before, and we thought, okay, the market price, stop at 758, which we did. We got the 100. We were looking for about 125, 135 pip pullback. We did. And then we thought going to the FOMC, they'd probably be even weaker, probably have to come down here, test the 568. That'd be a great area to buy them. But obviously, that's not how that played out. So I was very surprised to see it make this run up here to 8 and even actually get above, tagged up against this 816. We talked about that it was looking, more than likely would look to go and fade into this NFP. But that being said, it just goes to show you how bullish the euro was, just a week and a half ago. Things looked so bullish and nothing could stop the euro. Everybody wanted to buy the euro. We said after a good correction, we would see whether it had it in it after a good correction to eventually come up here towards this 865. Well, like I said, everything turned on a dime. I saw here where the favorite in the French elections, Fillon, he had his scandal, extramarital affair, and all of a sudden everybody's all, now they're thinking instead of winning, they're thinking he's going to get knocked out right in the first round. And that kind of basically flipped the market on its head, and everything was bearish. Everything looked really bearish. And so then we just, it basically was bad news on top of bad news, and then we just start sliding down. So generally you have something like that, it's not going to go on and take one dip and that's it. You're going to have to test it. And you can see here, we did come off the 661. They came, but the rally was just only a little bit. You can't say that was a real test. So he came down here into 643. From here, it looks like, as I mentioned before, is we can make a move lower, and I'm thinking, I'm not saying it's going to stop there, but I'm thinking that we'll eventually get down to 609. May not be till next week, but I'm thinking the way this market's set up, technically, it looks like it's going to have to go and do some homework. And then once we get down there, and if we do get down there here and do some work, then we'll have to see how the market looks. Maybe things will change. Maybe Marie Le Pen's support will wane a bit. Maybe Fillon kind of makes a comeback, and then all of a sudden everything looks like blue skies ahead for the euro. And we have to see what would happen at that point. We'll take a look also here on the 30-minute chart on the euro. So, like I said, there weren't any real big movements. We did cover, kind of an overall look at the market this morning in the first half hour. So we'll have a lot more time to spend on this. So the same, because we haven't seen necessarily any big movements. Obviously, we did with the Kiwi, probably to a lesser extent with the Aussie, but nothing big here. Now, we did have, and I was looking at this, I was telling the guys, maybe it kind of looked like a little bit of a mini wedge, or you can look for a flag pattern. And then it opened the door for this market to test higher. Okay, so we was going to do it. We did go in and start to break out of this flag, which we did. We added on, but as I said, we ended up running out of gas right here in this area, and on the 2-hour, it's just right before the 716. Which, if we break below the 670, that's, as I mentioned, I think that would really open the door. Once again, if we break past this area here, really open the door, as I mentioned, for that move down, eventual move down to 609. Obviously, for today, we've got support coming in at 624, but we'll have to see how this plays out. It's already fallen back in. It really looks like it's failing. So technically, like I said, when we look at the market, and you look at it basically a feeble return rally, it probably suggests that we're going to have to do some work with the euro, which really makes a lot of sense, because things are so negative at this point. So we're going to move into the cable and see how that stacks up. We had 24.18 and 25.30. And we did come up to this 25.30 and back down, and we've reasserted ourselves. So let's take a look and see where we stand right now. Had this 25.95 marked out before. I guess that was coming from the touches here, so we'll mark this off. Got 25.97, so boost this up a bit. And there is 26.09. Let's just go mark this off for now at 25.97. As I said, we're going to just take our time doing some analysis today because, like I said, there's no big movements. We don't have any big reports out. So we're going to really take our time looking at some of these. So we've kind of paused here at the 61%, which is 25.70 of this move. And cable likes to overshoot, so that's always still a little bit of a possibility, but we'll mark this off. So we got 25.97 now for support. We're going to go with this 24.33. It's a little bit low, but if the market wants to go on and maybe pop up here and run out of gas, I would think that this is probably what we'd work back towards, 24.33. So let's just go and mark that off for right now. We're just touching here at the into the zone just mildly. They may, and I don't know. I don't have a good feel on this right now, but they may go on and come up here and just grab this 25.97, maybe try and poke some stops at 26. But the way this cable's been set up, I think it's basically just a short-term trader's market for right now, because we're all over the place. We're all over the road on this. So what I would look for is they may go on and try and gun these stops and take it up and test this 126, and I think we'd start to slide back to find some support. Obviously, there'll be some at the 25.01 if we get up to this and test some stops. But if you're looking for where this market could eventually go to test, probably close to this 24.33. But I think for right now, we're just in a short-term trader's market. We're just all over the place. So let's go and take a look at the Aussie dollar. Obviously, probably got a little bit of a sympathy move with the Kiwi. Actually, it's held up relatively well and staying here and just simply consolidating, despite the move that you saw in the Kiwi. So not really a whole lot here when you take a look at it. Resistance is going to stay the same here, which is we have 75.87. But really not a whole lot, not really a lot here. I was saying 75, but I meant 76. Yeah, 76.80, 76.86. I had that market as 84, but 76.86. It's holding up really well, quite well, if you consider the way the Kiwi got thrashed. And support, I guess we're just going to stick with this in case we do break down. That'll be 75.60. So no changes here in the Aussie dollar. Just simply consolidating these levels. I would have expected a little bit more of a sympathy move with the Kiwi, which we'll move on to the Kiwi right now. Now, we saw a pretty good break here in the Kiwi. We had a resistance up in here. Now, they broke pretty hard on basically this, if you want to call it the guidance, really, so the steer of the market, but the guidance suggested they may not raise rates for another 2 years. So that really threw this market for a loop, and now any rallies back are going to be shorted. So resistance now would come in right there. So let's go and mark that off. This thing will have to correct, so it'll be 72.82. And let's take a look at support. That's going to come at this 38%, which is going to be 71.80. So let's go on and mark this off now. And let's see what level we can get that to confluence with. So that looks like we're going to go, that's what we're going to go to for starters. And we've got a level right here. Well, that comes in right in there, that's 71.80. So we can just, that'll be the support then. That's what we're looking for support, 71.80. We're just below this bias pivot of 72.25. You can see that here. Now let's take a look at the dollar CAD. We had 31.14 and 38.218. Here we made it to the, see, we did come down here. We were talking about, we thought it'd be well supported between 31.31 to 31.14. So we're coming right into this 31.14, which is our support from yesterday. I would expect this area to go on, find some decent support here. We may, so we're going to go and keep that one for right now, the 31.14, and we're going in, put the resistance for now right there. So we'll just be adjusting the resistance. So it's going to be 31.79. So just a moment.